With the yo-ho-ho, it's TaleOfTheToaster. Welcome to a video on Inazuma 11 GO Light and Shadow. I'm going to show you how to unlock the secret final boss of this game. And in order to do so, you need to have beaten Eternal Light on Inazuma 11 GO Light and Ancient Darkness on Inazuma 11 GO Shadow. And that alone is no mean feat because both are level 60 teams found only in the post-game. But if you can beat those on both copies of the game or connect with a friend who has a copy of the game that's beaten one of the two teams, therefore you do also need two 3DSs in the process, that will unlock Team 0 who have arrived at Sanctum. So you want to save your game. And now I'm going to head to Sanctum and show you where to find that match and just how difficult they are. Okay, so I am going to make sure to guide you through the island of Sanctum quickly, just because it differs depending on the game you're playing. In Inazuma 11 GO Light, the match against Eternal Light happens here straight away, so you don't really get to explore the rest of Sanctum, whereas if you're playing the Shadow version of the game to play Ancient Darkness, and indeed this match against Zero, you have to explore more of the island, including a photo opportunity of a waterfall, an exclusive item up here with random encounter, which I'm going to forfeit because I don't want to level up my team. I've made sure that they're exactly on a par for Zero and I want them to be quite equal, yes please. So we get the victory gloves there. And there's even a training spot over here, which I believe I showed off in a previous video, so we're going to skip that for now. Forfeit, just another battle which is trying to get in the way of my guide, excuse me. Take a photo of a windmill, heal up if you haven't already, and then this is the area in Go Shadow where you would have a football pitch present, but because I'm not playing that version of the game, it's instead a maze of trees, which looks a fair bit more realistic, unlike this man just running in place. So that does mean that if you're playing Go Shadow, then that football pitch we saw earlier will not be here. Finally, we get to the road to Sanctum Stadium, and this is where everything gets unique.
So this is Sanctum Stadium. Is it just me? Or is the air a little stale in here?
This place gives me the creeps.
I have never been beyond this point. From what I hear, very few have entered this place and returned safely. The team that's even better than Eternal Light and Ancient Darkness is up ahead. Come on, let's face them.
Welcome to Sanctum Stadium. I've been waiting for you, Raimon 11. Allow me to introduce the team we've all been dying to meet. The ultimate team. Zero.
Tezcat and Bailong. It's a combination of members from Eternal Light and Ancient Darkness. This is the ultimate team?
Light and Darkness. So that's their game. They've been planning to combine those two teams to create the ultimate team all along.
Very good. Yes, they were, in a sense, polar opposites. Light and shadow, order and chaos. Only by combining these opposing forces can the true ultimate team be formed. The intersection of positive and negative. Zero.
Your own arrival here on the island of Sanctum was but a part of our plan to perfect this ultimate team.
The more fiercely you fought us, the stronger we became. You are simply a tool to hone Zero's strength.
What? But
Zero do pack some punch. We better get them out of 5th Sector's clutches, and fast.
Agreed. Football is about more than just winning. Mark taught me that a long time ago. Now it's our turn.
Jack, have you been to the loo? Course. And you, Arian?
Yes, Coach.
Good. Then get out there and show them what Raimon's capable of. Now listen, no showing off. You're a team, so play like a team. Listen to Jude. It's a pretty good feeling when you know your teammates have got your back. Are you the same Caleb Stonewall I used to know? Don't give me that. I'm allowed to say something cool once in a while, aren't I?
And there you go, that's the build up to the match against Zero. There's a healing point here in the stadium if you need it. I don't imagine you will. The whole thing is suspended above a pit, and there's a photo opportunity just on this left hand side of the Sun Stadium. So you don't want to miss that, because I don't think you've got any other purpose for coming back here apart from the moon symbol, which you could also miss. You cannot access this area without linking the two games that have beaten Ancient Darkness and Eternal Light, and all that remains for us to do is to take Zero on.
Football determines the value of a person. Without the power to win, you can't protect the things that matter to you. Arian, can you protect the ones you care about?
I've been looking forward to the day I could settle things with you, Victor. Have you now? Allow us to show you the power we have gained by striving long and hard for the ultimate strength.
Team, I'm counting on you. Show them what Raimon can do. You're the successors to our name and our spirit. The new Raimon 11.
Yes, Coach! Coach Evans, everyone, I won't let you down.
We will take up this battle as proud representatives of Raimon.
Let's do this! It's time to take back football!
And in order to do so, you will want a team that is roughly around level 65. I've ended up on level 66. Whoops. Unfortunately, these guys do not have their own unique music playing alongside them, unlike when the teams are competing in their own right. They could have at least picked one of them. I guess they didn't want to put one team ahead of the other and say, oh, this music belongs to the true captain, but Bailong is the captain of this team anyway, and Tezcat isn't, so it's already kind of favouring Eternal Light. They might as well have used Eternal Light's music as well. But nevertheless, this is otherwise a fairly even split of Eternal Light and Ancient Darkness players. And when you put them together, some interesting things can come out of it as a result. The Eternal Light team also offers the goalkeeper to this team, and they do not have any reserves. They could have at least had a reserve goalkeeper from Ancient Darkness, but regardless, this guy has Snakebite and a Fighting Spirit. And if you're watching the movie, he would also have a move called Gravity Point, which is supposed to be the unique goalkeeping move of this team, but it's just not present. Let's do it. And straight away, you of course want to bring out a Fighting Spirit. I mean, this is Inazuma 11 GO we're talking about. We don't want to be taking people lightly here. And naturally, either you've got one or two plans in mind. Either bring out the Fighting Spirits of Ricardo, Victor and Arian so that you can live up to the plot of the movie that this battle is based upon and Spirit Bond Gryphon into play. Or if you want to take a more defensive approach, then you would probably want to make sure that JP has his fighting spirit out, just to prevent it from scoring. I'm going to see if I can go for Gryphon, but right now, we're actually going to go for a goal straight away with Atomic Harmonic, and that would make things immediately in our favour. As I mentioned, this guy does have a fighting spirit, but he's not likely to bring it out until later on, so we're going to get an early lead. And of course, I mentioned that this match is based upon the movie, and of course I do want that to be a talking point of this video. But I respect that some of you may not have had the chance to see that movie yet, so I'm going to save the spoilers for the second half of the match. And in the meantime, let's just talk otherwise. Bailong, it's time.
Yes, let's show them our ultimate power. Ha! Witness the ultimate spirit bond. Holy Sword Paladin, Arthur.
White Wyvern and Black Butcher bonded? That's right, Gryphon is not the only example of spirit bonding in this game, because you can also see spirit bonding from Bailong and Tezcat to bring out Arthur, the combination of Black Butcher and White Wyvern. Unfortunately, it's only Bailong who gets to use this and not Tezcat, and he's just lost possession of the ball, but he's very quickly about to take it back. Naturally, Arthur is your main threat in this match, and you probably won't be able to stop it for a long time, unless you're using Gryphon, which you clearly haven't had time to bring out yet, because they bring this out in the 4th minute. So I'm glad that Spirit Bonding does have an opportunity to showcase itself in this game, other than Gryphon, which is just the one thing. But yeah, it's also a bit of a shame that it's yet another King Arthur reference, because like we already had Excalibur from Knights of Queen in the last game, which is exactly why the shooting move of this spirit, instead of being called Excalibur, they had to call it Caliburn, just to differentiate it. I'm going to quickly go for an offside trap because JP does not have a fighting spirit open right now, and I'm still kind of working towards Gryphon. You want to get offside trap from the competition route in mid. I believe it's the Riverside one or Millie's route. It's one of the routes that you can beat just before you beat the game. But oh dear, we've lost possession of the ball there. So yeah, and this is not the final King Arthur reference that the Inazuma 11 series is going to bring into play either. I'll just tell you that. But nevertheless, so that's a fair bit about the spirit bonding. They are passing so much, they were bound to lose it eventually. Of course, I'm going to have to spoil the plot of the movie in the second half of this match. Oh dear, now we're both offside. So, if you haven't seen that movie yet, I do recommend it. I managed to find the English dub on YouTube the other day, and if you do watch in Japanese, there's some very, very high quality footage out there as well, and it's great seeing just how superb the animation is in a movie level production compared to the normal anime. And it brings out plenty of the special moves that we've seen on our characters in the post game of this game that they level up, that they learn through level up at very high levels, such as Supernatural Strike on Victor, Brimstone Rain on Ricardo, and Capable Hands on Sam, and Triple Threat, a 3-person shooting move on Arian as well, which I don't believe I've even had the chance to showcase in this series, but I do have it on Arian. The trouble is, he's just about to bring out his fighting spirit, so yeah, I really don't think we're likely to see that. And then Zero Magnum is also the combined shooting move of Bailong and Tezcat together when they don't have a fighting spirit in play. Whirly actually managing to get past them. That's kind of unbelievable. And here we go with the third Arch-Pegasus. So I've been using Gryphon a lot in the post-game of this series, but in fairness, this is the movie where it first comes out, before it's even seen in the universal match of the game and the anime. This is where it's first brought out in order to deal with Arthur. But we move into half-time.
Prepare to hold our true might.
Right, let's keep up the pace.
Yeah, certainly keeping up a pace here. 2-0 in the lead. And that means it's spoilers time. So first of all, the main thing I want to point out... Oh dear, I clicked steal instead of attack. I definitely wanted to attack Arthur. That's a bit of a mistake. Try and get rid of it as best I can. Instead, we have lost Arch-Pegasus altogether. And if I want that to come back out, I'm going to have to use Spirit Linking. Which, by the way, is how Bailong is able to bring out White Wyvern for a second time during the movie before it is Spirit Link. I think I'm instead going to bring out JP's. We'll give Gryphon a break for this one, despite it being its main spectacle. So one of the coaches for this team is actually Gus Martin, who was part of the Royal Academy team in the original series of Inazuma 11. So he's kind of sided with 5th Sector here, which is a shame, but also a nice random cameo that you never would have expected. And one of the most important things to point out is that he, along with Pincus Mountbatten and 4 other adults, actually play on the field as part of Zero in the movie when the teams start falling behind. And that doesn't happen in the game, but you can play against those characters as adults in an extra competition route match. Mars in the Hand is just about enough, because he didn't have Caliburn within him. Well, if they're giving us the opportunity to use Thunderbolt. No, Zero Space. What's that going to do? They've taken the ball from JP in front of the goal. And they've brought out their own goalkeeper's fighting spirit. I'm a little bit worried here. I've got another Mars in the Hand on back, thankfully. But Zero Magnum still very, very strong. But yes, so Pincus Mountbatten gets to play, and possibly one of the adults is one of the goalkeepers actually, and that might be where we see Gravity Point, but you don't see it in the game. Now the match ultimately results in not a win for Raimon, and not a win for Zero either, but a 5-5 draw, and that's what makes the match so interesting. It's genuinely evenly matched once we get past the typical, okay, they need to score twice to assert their dominance. But JP was well out of the way, and we had to see... Oh, we even get the voice clip from Tezcat rather than Bailong, that's good. But even though they bring on 5 adult players to help them out, something even weirder happens on Raimon's side, where Mark Evans, Jude Sharp, Sean Frost, Nathan Swift, and Caleb Stonewall all step onto the pitch. I thought I could bring out Musashi, but I've already got 3 active. They turn back into children briefly and use moves like Eternal Blizzard and... first of all, I should point out that they actually capture Sky Blue, one of your managers, in a cage, and they try to rescue them by... Well, they do rescue her by shooting an Emperor Penguin number 2 at the cage instead of scoring. I don't know why they have to turn back into kids, though. They could have just played as adults, because Zero already had adults on the pitch, and that's one of the weirdest things about the movie. But it is still nice to see all those characters come back again and show off their moves, including God Hand V, we see coming out from Mark, while Sam hasn't quite remembered how to use capable hands yet, which he does block a goal within the movie and then forgets for the rest of the season, because, continuity and all that has to take precedence. But there's just so much that happens in the match. 10 goals altogether, old Raimon players coming onto the pitch, Arch-Pegasus and Gryphon coming out for, in terms of the timeline, the first time ever. And a tie at the end of it all, and spirit bonding. It is such an enjoyable match, even though there's some parts of the movie you can definitely criticise. Like, for example, Easy Breezy while holding a goat in your hands is genuinely considered a separate special move in this game. You have to put in a password just to unlock a move called Easy Breezy Kid, which is exactly the same move as before, but this time Arian is holding a goat in his hand. And that, of course, comes from the movie as well. And also, Supernatural Strike is actually only used against Ancient Darkness, and it doesn't even score. But what we have scored with is all of our fighting spirits, and we have got the victory over Zero, the toughest match in the story. How could we have lost? Yippee! We won! And what am I going to get for that? We get the Zero kit and their formation. Surprise Willy getting a couple of level ups.
We lost.
How? We were supposed to be perfect. I have devoted my life to becoming more powerful than anyone. And yet...
Bailong, you and your team don't understand what football really is.
Football isn't something you play to become stronger. Football creates bonds of friendship and gives you courage. That's the true power of a team. That's what makes football so wonderful.
Then we were misguided.
But what is football without strength? How can we be worth anything?
Football shouldn't decide someone's worth. Football cheers you up when you're down. It lifts your spirits. It's there to be enjoyed.
To be enjoyed?
Now that you mention it, I seem to remember there was a time I used to play football for enjoyment. So very long ago. All this time we have sought nothing but ultimate power because that was asked of us. But perhaps we were wrong.
Poppycock! Get back on your feet, Zero! Face Raimon again and crush them!
Listen to the crowd. What do you hear?
I hear cheering. Are they praising our battle? Football's bound to be just as happy too. This was a great match.
Sanctum is finished!
Victor, next time we face each other, I will come out on top.
Go ahead and try.
I intended to teach you that football is a measure of a person's strength. But in the end, it was you who taught me. You helped me see that football should be enjoyed. Thank you.
Not at all. I do feel like you've helped me get stronger too. So, thank you.
I am glad. Please, take this as a token of our friendship.
They're a proper good team, that new Raimon lot. Of course. I still think we were better. We had a bit more impact, if you ask me. Poor guys. It's because they don't have a rough gem like me. That's not the reason, Caleb.
Point is, the spirit of Raimon will never die!
Yeah, Raimon and football will live forever.
Goodbye, Tezcat. It was truly fun playing football with you. Thank you again, Arian. Goodbye.